My name is Jon Lamb. I teach in the English department here at KU. So I've been involved with IDRH since I came to KU in 2011, off and on. So I think I got a course transformation grant or course development grant. It's like a $1,000 grant to change your class, and I did my English 332 Shakespeare class, in which we integrated digitally typed things, text analysis, but also digital projects and digital stuff. So Python is a programming language, and data scientists and others use it for all kinds of different things. But what it's particularly useful for is, one, it's human readable, unlike R or C++ or other coding languages, which are really hard to read. Python is humanist friendly because you can read it and it kind of makes sense like a language. So I like it because it's easier that way. But Python really is useful for all kinds of different text analysis. So for example, if you have a big corpus of 1,000 books, and then you have all the metadata, like an Excel spreadsheet of all the information about those books, like the number of characters, the sort of nationality and gender of the author, the year in which it was published, whatever information, the metadata you might have about those texts, then you can use Python and other kinds of packages that Python includes to find out interesting things about that corpus of texts. And it usually involves taking that metadata, that information, and sort of finding out relationships that you wouldn't have seen if you had just read those 1,000 novels, not least because you would forget what was in those 1,000 novels. So Python is great at scaling up certain kinds of inquiry. So I'm a Shakespearean, and one of the easier ones to find is that if you sort of put all of Shakespeare's plays into various kinds of models, right? So it's usually some kind of linguistic model. The play Othello, which is a tragedy about a guy who is manipulated into becoming jealous, right? And then he ends up killing his wife and killing himself. You know the story. The play Othello has the linguistic profile of a comedy. So it's more like something like All's Well That Ends Well than it is like Hamlet or Macbeth. That's an amazing thing to find, right? And it sort of goes with what we've always sort of seen about this play, which is that it is a reverse comedy. The play starts with a marriage, which is how most comedies end, and it slowly deforms and descends from there into tragedy. And it features Iago, the bad guy, basically wooing Othello using the language of a suitor. And so it really does have the linguistic profile of a comedy. It's sort of like learning a new language. It actually is like learning a new language, so that you have to kind of become fluent in the methods and the actual coding of it. One of the things that I try to do is try to bring in people who really actually know computer programming, because I'm not a computer programmer. I know enough to sort of do stuff, but it involves not only learning a new language, but then learning a new kind of work. This kind of collaboration that's very familiar in the social sciences and sciences, which is a relatively new phenomenon for us, which is learning to work with people who have differential expertises. And that's really both exciting and also the hardest part, because it's hard to sort of bring in people whose backgrounds don't go along with your goals and try and figure out how to work together. So I think it can be done and should. So IDRH is a really good institutional body for giving people a place to look for these kinds of things. Not just text coding and all that, but not text coding, not just text analysis, but all kinds of digital projects. So it's really good at being a kind of umbrella thing. I think what we need to do now, am I allowed to say this on the internet? I think what we need to do now is begin to sort of bring people in and realize that a lot of the work they want to do is kind of facilitated by an institutional body like IDRH. So it's really like, if you want to do digital storytelling, IDRH is the kind of place for that to happen. Or text analysis in my case.